My child, tonight I am speaking directly to you. Yes, you. I know you smiled all day while secretly breaking inside. I heard you tell everyone, I'm okay, but I know the truth hidden in your heart. I saw the tears you never showed anyone. I saw the nights when you lay awake in silence, trying to fight thoughts that nobody else could hear. People may see your smile, but I see your pain. And tonight, I need you to listen carefully to me. Do not be afraid anymore, because tonight, I am removing every fear from your heart. I know you are tired of pretending to be strong, tired of carrying burdens that nobody understands, tired of fighting battles in your mind every single day. You fear losing people. You fear failure. You fear rejection. You fear the future. And sometimes, you are terrified that one day everything in your life could fall apart. But my child, listen to me. You were never meant to carry all of this alone. That weight on your chest, that heaviness in your mind, that constant fear inside your soul. Give it to me tonight, because I have been with you through every storm, even the ones you thought would destroy you. I was there the night you cried yourself to sleep. I was there when your heart broke. I was there when you felt abandoned. I was there during the moments when you felt completely alone. And even when you stopped talking to me, I never walked away from you. There was a man sitting alone in his apartment late one night. The room was dark. Rain tapped softly against the windows. His phone stayed silent. No messages, no calls, no comfort. And for the 100th time that night, he whispered, God, I can't do this anymore. My child, I heard him, just like I hear you tonight, because fear has a way of exhausting the soul. It steals peace, it steals sleep, it whispers lies into your mind. You are not enough. You will fail. Nothing will ever change. You are too broken to heal. But listen carefully to me tonight. Those voices are not from me, because I did not create you to live in fear. I created you for peace. I created you for purpose. I created you to walk through darkness knowing that I am beside you. Fear entered your life long ago, maybe through heartbreak, maybe through betrayal, maybe through rejection, maybe through wounds you never fully healed from. And slowly, fear built a home inside your heart. Now you overthink everything. You expect disappointment. You prepare yourself for pain, even during happy moments, because somewhere deep inside, you became afraid of being hurt again. But my child, that is not the life I want for you. I do not want you trapped in anxiety. I do not want you drowning in fear every night. I want you to live with peace, real peace, the kind of peace that remains even when life feels uncertain. 3 years ago, there was a woman sitting outside a hospital in Texas. Doctors had just given her terrible news about her son. She held the steering wheel and cried until she could barely breathe. And in the middle of her fear, she heard my voice whisper, "Trust me." That was all. 2 simple words, but those words carried more peace than anything else in her life. The storm did not disappear overnight, but fear slowly lost its power, because fear cannot survive where faith begins. And tonight, I am whispering the same words to you. Trust me, not your fear, not your anxiety, not the lies inside your mind. Trust me, even when you cannot see the outcome, even when the future feels uncertain, because some of my greatest miracles happen in the dark. My child, the greatest battle in your life is happening inside your mind. Every day, two voices fight for your attention. One voice says, "You are weak. You are failing. You will never recover." But my voice says, "You are chosen. You are stronger than you realize. You are never alone." And the voice you listen to the most becomes the voice you believe. That is why the enemy attacks your mind first. Because if he can control your thoughts, he can control your peace. But tonight, that cycle ends. Tonight, you stop believing every fearful thought. Tonight, you remember this truth: fear is a liar. Do you remember the storm my disciples faced on the sea? The waves crashed violently against the boat. The wind screamed through the darkness. Even strong fishermen became terrified. Then they saw me walking toward them on the water. At first, they thought I was a ghost. But then I spoke. "It is I. Do not be afraid." The storm was still raging. The waves were still violent. Yet peace arrived before the storm ended. Because sometimes, I do not remove the storm immediately. Sometimes, I walk through it beside you. And suddenly, the thing that once terrified you loses its power. Tonight, I am walking toward your storm too. Toward your anxiety. Toward your depression. Toward your sleepless nights. Toward the silent pain you hide from everyone else. And I am saying to you now, do not be afraid. There is another fear hidden deep inside many hearts. The fear of being unloved. Some people hide it behind success. Some hide it behind relationships. Some try to please everyone around them. But deep inside, they fear they are not enough. Maybe you understand that feeling. Maybe you compare yourself to others. Maybe you feel forgotten. Maybe you secretly wonder if anyone truly cares about you. But my child, hear me clearly tonight. Your value does not come from people, not from money, not from followers, not from approval. You were loved before you ever succeeded, and nothing on this earth can remove my love from your life. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your past. That fear inside you, the fear that you are unworthy, I am removing it tonight. There are moments in life when people reach a breaking point, moments when they feel too tired to continue. Maybe you have reached that place recently. Maybe you cried more this year than anyone knows. Maybe you almost gave up. But look at you. You are still here, still breathing, still fighting. And that means your story is not over. Fear told you to quit, but I carried you when you were too weak to walk alone. And before you sleep tonight, there is something else I need you to understand. Some fears do not arrive loudly. They arrive quietly, slowly, like shadows growing in the dark. A disappointment becomes doubt. A heartbreak becomes insecurity. An unanswered prayer becomes confusion. And before you realize it, fear builds a home inside your heart. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. My child, there are people listening to these words tonight who are emotionally exhausted. People tired of overthinking, tired of expecting the worst, tired of waking up every morning with heaviness in their chest. People smiling on the outside, while fighting invisible battles on the inside. And sometimes, the fear becomes so constant, they forget what peace even feels like. They miss the version of themselves that used to laugh freely, the version that dreamed fearlessly, the version that trusted life. But tonight, I am restoring that person again. Not the broken version created by pain, but the beautiful soul I created from the beginning, because fear has spoken over your life long enough. And tonight, Its voice is losing power. There was once a man living alone near a small church in Tennessee. Every night after work, he drove past that church, and every night he stared at the glowing cross outside the building. But he never went inside, because deep down, he believed I wanted nothing to do with him. His marriage had ended, his business failed, his father died unexpectedly, and after enough heartbreak, he stopped praying. Not because he hated me, but because pain made him distant. Fear often does that. It slowly pulls people away from hope, little by little, until they feel emotionally numb. One cold night during a storm, his car broke down outside that church. Rain poured heavily, thunder shook the sky. As he stood beneath the roof trying to stay dry, he heard soft piano music inside. The church was almost empty. Only an old woman sat near the piano. She looked at him gently and said, "Fear makes people run away from the very place that could heal them." My child, that sentence changed his life, and maybe tonight, it will change yours too. Because many people spend years hiding their wounds, distracting themselves, pretending to be okay. But pain buried alive never disappears. It waits in silence, and fear feeds on hidden pain. That is why some people fear love, fear trust, fear dreaming again, because they are terrified of being hurt another time. So instead of healing, they build emotional walls, walls so high nobody can reach them. But those walls do not only block pain, they also block joy, peace, connection, and eventually, people become prisoners inside the walls they built for protection. Tonight, I am asking you to stop hiding behind fear, because healing begins where honesty begins. Maybe tonight, for the first time in years, you need to admit, yes, I'm scared. Scared of failing again, scared of losing someone again, scared of trusting again, scared life will disappoint you again. But courage does not mean you never feel fear. Courage means fear no longer controls your life. My child, humans love control. You want certainty, guarantees, proof that everything will work out. But faith grows through surrender. Anyone can feel peaceful when life makes sense, but true faith appears when life feels impossible, and you still choose to trust me anyway. There will be seasons in your life that make no sense, seasons where prayers seem unanswered, seasons where doors suddenly close, seasons where people leave without explanation. And during those moments, fear whispers, God abandoned you. But often the truth is the opposite. Sometimes I remove people because they cannot follow you into your next season. Sometimes the breaking is preparation. Sometimes isolation is protection. Sometimes delays are divine timing. And sometimes your discomfort is proof that you were created for more. One of the greatest lies fear ever tells people is this: you will always feel this way. But pain is temporary. Storms are temporary. Dark nights are temporary. And eventually, morning always comes. Tonight, I am breaking the lie that says your life will never improve, because your future can change suddenly. One prayer can change everything. One moment with me can redirect your entire life. Do not underestimate what heaven can do in one night. Some miracles arrive quietly, without warning, without noise, without explanation. There are people who almost ended their lives before discovering their purpose. People who almost gave up before their breakthrough arrived. People who cried themselves to sleep for years before finally finding peace. And one day, they realized something powerful. The enemy attacks hardest when your breakthrough is closest. That is why you have faced so much mental warfare lately. That is why exhaustion keeps following you. That is why fear keeps trying to steal your hope. Because something greater is ahead of you. and darkness is terrified that you might discover it. My child, your fear is not proof that I left you. Sometimes fear appears because your spirit knows you are standing near transformation. There is a version of you waiting beyond this pain, a peaceful version, a healed version, a fearless version, a version of you that sleeps peacefully again, laughs freely again, dreams again. And tonight, I am leading you toward that person. Even now, while you listen to my voice, I see wounds nobody else sees. I see childhood pain you never talk about. I see memories that still haunt you. I see shame you secretly carry. And even during the moments you stopped believing in yourself, I never stopped believing in you. That is grace. My grace loves people who feel unlovable, restores people who feel broken beyond repair. Fear constantly reminds you of your past, but I am calling you toward your future. Fear says, you failed too many times, but I say, you are still growing. Fear says, you are too broken, but I say, I restore broken things. Fear says, your story is over, but I say, my child, I am just getting started. Tonight, you must decide which voice you will follow, because the voice you believe becomes the direction of your life. Nighttime feels heavy for many people, because when the world becomes quiet, hidden thoughts become louder. That is why some people fear the night, not because of darkness outside, but because of darkness inside their minds. But what if tonight is not meant to destroy you? What if tonight is meant to heal you? What if I allowed this quiet moment so you could finally hear my voice again? Because sometimes I whisper instead of shout. And tonight, beneath all your fear, beneath all your anxiety, beneath all your exhaustion, I am saying, my child, come back to peace. Real peace, not temporary peace, not fake peace, but the kind of peace that survives storms. The world offers distractions, but I offer healing. The world says, hide your weakness, but I say, bring me your burdens. The world says, handle everything alone, but I say, you were never meant to carry this alone. Tonight, release what you have been holding inside for too long, because fear loses power the moment you stop feeding it. Every time you choose faith over panic, fear weakens. Every time you pray instead of overthink, fear weakens. Every time you trust me despite uncertainty, fear weakens. And one day, the thing that once controlled your life will become nothing more than a memory. One day you will wake up and realize you survived things you once believed would destroy you. You survived heartbreak. You survived betrayal. You survived lonely nights. You survived seasons where you thought your world was collapsing. And somehow, you are still here, because I have carried you this entire time. Even during the seasons when you thought I was silent. Silence does not mean absence. A teacher stays silent during the test, and maybe heaven felt quiet lately, because you were becoming stronger without realizing it. Pain changes people, but pain can either make people bitter or wiser, fearful or stronger, closed or compassionate. And tonight, your pain will not be wasted. One day your story will heal other people. One day your survival will inspire someone else not to quit. One day your tears will become proof that broken hearts can heal. But first, you must survive this chapter. And my child, you will. Not because you are strong alone, but because I am stronger than the darkness trying to consume you. Tonight, while the world sleeps, heaven is fighting battles you cannot see. Chains are breaking. Strength is returning. Peace is entering your heart slowly, deeply, gently. And years from now, You may not even recognize the fearful person you used to be, because this season is not destroying you. It is transforming you. So now, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine every fear you carry, every anxious thought, every painful memory, every silent tear. Now place all of it into my hands, because you were never meant to carry it alone. Tonight, I am removing the heaviness from your soul, not because you earned it, but because I still love broken people, especially broken people. And tonight, your healing begins, not tomorrow, not next year, tonight. So sleep peacefully now, my child, because I am with you. I have always been with you, and I always will be.